we doing, everyone? MJS back in with another video here, and this is going to be another one of those MJS x FindIT tech videos that I've been making here. I really like this concept, and I'm just going to continue to roll with it because I have a lot of stuff to talk about that overlaps business and operation, and then there's also a technology piece to it. So what this video is going to be talking about a custom client portal that I created using my web development company for specifically to handle some operations in that web development company. So what I'm gonna do in this video is kind of give you a full behind the scenes, the way that I thought about it, some of my initial thoughts, how we, I'll go through the portal. We're not gonna talk about anything technology really oriented or how we built it necessarily here. We're just gonna talk about kind of the business application portion of it. And then I'm going to make another video. I'm going to post another video over on the FindIT Tech channel. The link will be in the description if you want to go check that one out. If you're interested in doing something like that for yourself, or what it might, if you want to do it, or if you're just interested in what it took to build something like that, the way we built it, then you can go check that out. But I didn't want to put it all in one video because, there's kind of two different audiences there. So without further ado, let's get into what we're going to be talking about here, and we'll show you the agenda. So here's the outline of what we're going to be covering, and obviously we're going to have some visual aids in here as well. But let's just start with the initial bottleneck, or the initial reason, the situation that I was in, and I'll give you some context as to how this might help you. So I have a line in here. It says example industries, web development, real estate, consulting, lawn care, etc. What I want you to do if you are in the the business aspect of this and you're watching it from that, with your business operations hat on, is think about whatever you do and think about if something like this, I'm not saying this exact implementation, but something like this could fix pain points in your current operation layout, okay? So that's kind of my goal with this, is to hopefully help folks in those situations. So my issue specifically was I was running a web development company and I was gaining clients, and we were hosting and maintaining websites for clients, and we needed a way to automate that whole billing process. So a great example would be if you subscribe to a Netflix, okay? When you go to netflix.com, you press sign up, you put in your information, you put in your credit card, it stores all that information, and it just charges you whatever it is now, let's say $15 a month, charges you $15 a month on every whatever day that you sign up, I guess. Let's say it's the 15th. So every 15th of each month, you're going to get charged that. I wanted to do that, but at the time, I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to do it. And over time, obviously, we figured out some core tenets that we wanted to implement in a solution that would obviously solve that problem. So what did we try? Well, at the time, we were using QuickBooks Online, and we still are. I would highly recommend that. I could do maybe some more content on that specifically. But there's a huge value add in QuickBooks Online, and if you can tie everything in together, then it's massively effective. But with that concept that QuickBooks Online has is you connect other accounts, bank accounts and things like that, and then it automatically kind of puts it all in there. You don't have to do any manual uploading and stuff like that. And a quick aside, I'm basically a one-man show at this point. I say we sometimes because it's the company type thing, but I don't without a lot of added help. I want to make sure everything that I do is as automated and as efficient as possible, which I would recommend for any small business. I don't care if you're just one person or you have a team. You should probably want to make it automated and efficient if you can. So that's one of those core tenets that I was thinking of. So we were using QuickBooks Online, and we tried a recurring invoicing type of thing that they had. I think I might have had to jump up to a different plan or something like that. But there was just some clunkiness, some difficulty to put a card on file. I think you needed to get some sort of written consent, which is understandable, but the way that you put it in, it was just kind of strange. I think I would have had to actually call each client and have them and put it in myself rather than them doing it. Again, using that Netflix example, I wanted the client to kind of take care of it all, give them the instructions and they take care of it. So it was just too many steps. It wasn't worth it. So then I know that there are other options out there, other third-party solutions. But at that point, when I realized that, the gears were turning, I was we're a web development company. We could just build something like this and it would be really sick. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but there are other third-party options. But as we go through this and you kind of see it, and then we talk about the overall benefits here later on, I have this overall motif for this thought, again, a core tenet in my head, that I want things to be cohesive. I don't want to send my clients. I don't like it when I'm on a website and I get sent somewhere else to like pay or to handle some sort of like service. So I want to try to make everything as cohesive and as tight as possible. I use this example in some other content I think that I produced, is that Amazon, big company, granted, but Amazon and Apple, they don't send you to other places to, buy your phone or to look at information about the phone or to, select which device you want and like get all this other stuff. Like they try to bring all that in-house. It's a weird comparison because they're so large, but I think if you have that mindset as a small business and you just continuously like brick by brick, bring everything as close to you, or at least make it look as close to your brand as possible, I think you're going to be treated better, or you're going to have a greater sense of professionalism. So with all that being said, there are definitely other options. I know of a few other colleagues that have tried different things, like different services where you just like, you send them out to something. I think one is called Moon Clerk. There's a bunch, okay? Just look at like payment processors, whatever, like standalone things. But the other piece of that is now you're also layering in another thing, not only on the front end that we talked about from that aesthetic perspective, but you're also on the back end, you're layering in another thing that you or your team has to manage. Just didn't like it. Okay, that's why I was like, if I have a problem, I don't want to solve that problem by like my first solution is not to add more tools to the mix. It's to use what I have and build something or integrate something, so I don't have to create more chaos and or entropy, for lack of a better word. Like I don't want to have necessarily a lot of tools. I want to have the right tools to get like the most amount of the job done. So again, all of that playing in my head at this point, I just wanted to build something that I had ultimate control over and was cohesive with the brand, is like the very concise way to put it. So going back to the example industries like we were talking about with like real estate, consulting, lawn care, whatever, there are probably products out there that are already built and designed specifically for your industry. And like real estate's a great example. There's definitely like some sort of like property management software that you could just get right out of the box. And if that works for you, that's absolutely great. Like go ahead and do that. But make sure though, and hopefully maybe the rest of this video, when I show you some of the things that we're doing in this portal and some of the ideas we have, make sure that like you vet the thing, okay? Because last bit that I'll point here is I was actually involved in the real estate agency. I keep saying this in these videos, but it was a great experience. I was in like the marketing and technology side, and I interfaced a lot with agents and the platforms that they have. And as a real estate agent, if you get bombarded with a bunch of shit like all the time, right? Like different CRMs and different products. Oh, you need this, marketing, whatever. But the thing is, you have to like kind of go in. I feel that the best way to get your most bang for your buck with anything you purchase or invest in is you have to know your business and the needs for what you do before you decide on a product, okay? So that's why I like being able to build the thing, but maybe you don't have that option. Again, that's fine. But if you're looking at a few CRMs, make sure that you understand what they're providing and what you really need, because a lot of times they're just going to be like filled with stuff that you don't need, or it's like it's not pertaining to your business or the way that you do business. So all that is just some food for thought, right? If you're in this type of position and you need something to kind of manage all of your stuff, specifically on the back end or like billing or anything like that, let me jump over into the portal that we created, and I will just give you a brief walkthrough and kind of give you maybe some ideas, again, hopefully something to think about, get the gears turning, that if you're going to build something, you kind of know, or if you're going to have something built, or if you're going to purchase something, just some things to look out for, some cool ideas, ways to make sure that you don't create more bottlenecks in, purchasing something. So like I said, I'm going to keep this at a very high level. I'm just going to talk about like the business application and operation side of this, just so you would kind of know. And most of it's pretty standard, so it's not going to be too in-depth at all. But if you do want to learn about how to build something like this, if you're interested in WordPress specifically is what this is built on, go ahead and check out that other video. It's linked in the description below. But we got a simple login page, obviously just core tenets of like, also like you kind of want to have, what you do want to care about here, because this relates to everything I just said in the opening there, is you want to make sure that the people that are interfacing with this on the front end are having a good experience, right? Because again, I'll use the real estate agency example, is if you're an agent, you know how difficult clients can be, and rightfully so, because that's like a big deal, obviously like a big deal purchase that you're dealing with houses and stuff like that. But if you give them anything to like sign up for or deal with. It's got to be pretty straightforward and pretty effective. So let me go ahead and log in here and we'll show you exactly what our client's experience is like. In an attempt to make this as helpful as possible to, whoever is watching, whatever industry you're in, I'm going to paint a lot of this with some broad brushstrokes, and I'm going to kind of like, maybe give some examples off the top of my head on how you can like modify something, that we are using this for specifically for web development to relate to something else in a different industry maybe. All right, so I would say maybe one of the first things to kind of look out for, make sure you have, is just easy navigation. So a nice little dashboard here would be good. Some navigation on the right and everything like that. Nothing clunky. You don't want your clients or your customers to be annoyed by going into the portal and having to deal with anything. In our case, our main item is like projects, right? So web development projects, things that we're maintaining, we're hosting. So if we go to the project section, you can kind of see as an example here, this would be like a project, in this case, just called MJS, right? It has the logo. It would have client logo, stuff like that. These are a couple cool features that I would definitely say. So view project proposal. If you click this button, it opens up like a PDF where they can download the actual executed contract of whatever they're doing. So again, that's extremely relevant to a lot of different industries, right? If it was lawn care, tree service, like whatever it is, you could have something like that there. And then in this case, view the website, but you could have something else like view, maybe the plans for something you were doing. Again, this is all custom. So, but make sure that, I would again say like, make sure that the client knows what they're getting, and there's no, for the sake of your business and the sake of your relationship with them, make sure that that you know the expectations, or they know the expectations, and they have an easy way to kind of remember or access the stuff that you agreed to. And on that same note, maybe there are platforms, something to look into would be digital signatures, right? So instead of having to email somebody a contract, then print it out and sign it and scan it back in and all that sort of stuff, look into platforms like DocuSign or platforms built for your industry that have that built in. I know some do. In our case, we actually use DocuSign, and then I just upload the executed PDF to that link. So that's something to do. And then similarly with us, we use a file uploader. So if they needed to upload pictures or text or anything like that, they could do that right through here. You could also use a Google Drive if you wanted to simplify that or something. But just ways to increase communication, make communication easier, make any sort of file transfer or modifications to anything easier. There's definitely a lot of good options out there. And if you're going to do that or you're going to build your own, make sure you have all that kind of built in. So if we hop over to the My Account section, in our case, we built that out so they could just, simply click on that there. There's a lot of different options. Some of this stuff is pretty standard, right? Obviously, editing your email and all that sort of stuff, changing your password. Make sure that stuff's easy, right? Make sure that they don't have to jump through a ton of hoops to do that. Most platforms are pretty good about that, so I'm not going to harp on that, obviously. Addresses and stuff, if that's pertinent to your business type or your billing specifically, make sure that they're able to change that sort of stuff. Same thing goes with payment methods. And just make sure that they're able to change all that. Make sure that they're able to cancel the subscription if it's a cancelable subscription service or something. And most of this stuff probably would be a recurring, obviously, right? That's kind of the premise that we led with. So make sure that if it's not something that they need to deal with you directly, give them the option to kind of do the stuff on their own, but also give them the option to reach out to you if they need the help or the support or whatever, which we'll talk about that as well. But, you don't have to call Netflix to cancel, okay? Let's use that as an example. Don't trap people in the service. Give them the freedom to do whatever necessary. Again, morph it to your business model. But that's what I would say is the reason we built this portal is to give our clients more freedom to kind of manage kind of the services and just understand and know these different things about what they have and what they're paying for. And I just think that overall helps transparency and customer loyalty and just trust in general. So those are some of the core tenets there. And then, in that same vein, you don't want to hide how they're paying or what they're paying for. So make sure that you have some way of knowing this is what you're paying for recurringly, right? So whether it's a $17 a month charge for Netflix or whatever it is, make sure that they know that they're signed up, and make sure that they know so there's a subscriptions, I would say, and then an orders. I mean, you don't, obviously this is this platform specifically, but make sure that they know what they're subscribed to and when they're paying and how much they're paying, and if the payments are going through, if they're working, whatever, if they're still subscribed to the service and all that. Ultimately, again, like I said, give them the opportunity to kind of work with that. Like if they want to cancel or whatever, make sure they know all that information. I just think, again, that's hugely vital. And if your platform has the ability to, send email confirmations, it should at least email confirmations, but even like a text notification, if they, subscribe, if they opt into that, that's even better, because just there's a limit to like the amount of communication you should have with people, but it's pretty hard to reach that over communication limit. Most people, I think, would like to know when they're being charged for the things that they're being charged, right? So just make sure that you're always doing that. You're not charging anybody. The platform isn't charging anybody like unknowingly or anything like that. Again, most things should be okay, but some are better than others in just those small details. And again, when you have a platform like this, you control most of that. But those are the big things that I would say that I've seen in other platforms, and some do it better than others. The last thing here is support. This is hugely vital, I would say, because again, going back to that idea of giving your customers the freedom to change things or do things if they want. Some people are going to, this is a great example here, some people are going to call you if they have a problem, right? Some people are going to email you, but some people are going to want to find the answer. I would say I'm kind of one of those people. If it's something that I can do myself, I'd just rather do it, because it's probably going to take less time than communicating with a support team. So having something like a knowledge base, or even just like some simple videos on how to do different things, like how to manage your payment methods or cancel the subscription or whatever, have the answers there for them so it's an option. If they're willing to go find them and willing to go do it themselves, then make sure that it's available for them. And I just think that you're going to get way less phone calls, truthfully, because there's going to be a decent percentage of people that will just figure out how to do it themselves, but you got to give them the information, and it's got to be, they have to be able to do it, right? So those are the big core tenets that I would say specifically when you're looking at something or you're building something like this, you definitely want to take into consideration. So to summarize the overall benefits, or just the things to look out for: completely automated billing. You don't want that to be a manual process, especially if it's very regular and recurring. You want to make sure that is as automated as possible. You want to make sure that you have some level of brand cohesion. A custom solution is going to give you the most amount, but make sure that you can at least try to brand it to yourself. If you're going to buy something off the shelf, I think it's just way nicer and way more professional. The client experience needs to be pretty much the utmost importance, because if the client has a difficult time using it, they're not going to want to use it, and it's going to be useless. At least, if they have to go in there and play with it, it might be okay, because if they just put in the information, it kind of just, obviously it's automated to a certain extent, but make sure the client experience is okay. Make sure it's not extremely clunky or old or slow or anything like that. Ideally, again, with a custom portal, you have full control. So at least look for some level of, setting, optimization, stuff like that, something that fits your business. Don't buy something that is built for real estate when you're in lawn care or something like that. That's like really just don't do that. If you're going to build your own, obviously you'll have the most amount of control, like I said. And then extensibility. So this one I would say is extremely valuable to people that want to continue to build and grow their business and their framework of what they're doing in whatever industry it is. And it's pretty much exclusive to a portal that you design yourself or you have somebody build for you. So consider that if you're doing something in a more niche industry and you need a solution, then you are probably going to scale, and you're probably going to need more features or or deeper, some sort of more rich feature set. So you're not going to have that you're not going to have as much control of that if you have something out of the box or off the shelf. And if you do go that route, at least maybe be active in the development of the product, like suggest some features or something like that if they have that option, because you're just probably going to find over time, I've seen this many times, again, in the real estate industry as an example, they will pick something like a CRM tool and then they'll either outgrow it, which is not the worst case scenario, but like try to find something that's going to scale with you so you don't have to rebuild all of your processes when you get to a certain point. I just feel like that's like the best way to go about it. Sometimes it's unavoidable. I totally understand that. But that's kind of the reason that I lean towards something like this, because it's not overly expensive, especially if you believe in what you're doing if you're, to some degree good at what you're doing, or just if you're just invested in what you're doing already, like your business. So those are kind of the reasons and the main points of why I would say this is a good avenue to at least look down, and those are the things that I would say that you always have to take in consideration when you're looking for something like this. All right, guys, I hope this video helped at least to some degree. Maybe got the gears turning on how to optimize your workflow or implement a client portal for your own business. If you are interested in checking out the other video over on the FindIT Tech channel about how we built it, all the costs, the stack, and everything like that, the link to that video is in the description. Make sure you go check that out. But with all that, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you click the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And I will talk to you guys in the next one.